Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to join you today. Thank you to the government of Malawi and partners for convening this important and timely forum. I wish to acknowledge First Lady, Madam Monica Chakwera, for opening the conference and for being a strong supporter of this initiative. As an African, I'm going to do what we do best. I'm going to tell you a story about a powerful ancient African philosophy that I believe may one day save all of us, our communities, our humanity, our world. This is the heart where I grew up in my small village in Zimbabwe, where my gogo, my grandmother, raised me. The hut was small, but big enough for Gogo and I to cook and sleep and pray. It was our home, the center of our existence. We ate our meals inside this hut. We dreamt big inside this hut. We created fond memories that shaped the understanding of my identity inside this hut. One evening, as we sat around a blazing fire, Gogo looked at me and said, "Ha! You must dream big, my dear child. Your dream must be big enough for all of us." I was too young to fully understand Gogo's words, so she explained that my dream didn't just belong to me, it belonged to all of us. She explained that I was a child of the African soil, and because there are plenty of us Africans, my dream must be big enough for all of us, big enough for all Africans, because of our Ubuntu. Up until that moment, I had never heard of the word Ubuntu. I would quickly learn that Ubuntu is the essence of who we are as Africans, a lesson we learned from our ancestors that teaches us that we are all deeply connected as human beings. Ubuntu means I am because we are, and because we are, you are. And it's the inescapable truth that our humanity binds us, connecting us to each other, no matter who we are, or where we're from, or what we believe. Ubuntu acknowledges each of us as part of a greater whole, as part of a community. It is therefore the understanding that what impacts one of us will eventually impact all of us in various ways. These values of Ubuntu guided my upbringing, and in particular, my understanding that a dream is a shared, inclusive vision for all, rather than just an individual ambition or desire. I learned that a dream represents the hope for a future for the people you love, for your family, for your entire community. I learned that a dream can be for one, but it can be for many. That a shared dream has the power to not only transform your own life, but to also transform the lives of those around you. The moment that sparked my own dream is testament to this. When I was 8 years old, I encountered an African girl in a blue uniform during a life-threatening moment. A severe drought had hit my village, leaving us with nothing to eat or drink. She found me starving and unable to move, and gave me a bowl of porridge that literally saved my life. It turned out that this African girl was an aid worker with the United Nations. And when I was able to speak, I asked her why she was there. She replied, "I'm here because as Africans, we must uplift each other." This moment sparked my dream to become a humanitarian, so that one day I too could uplift the lives of others, just as my life had been uplifted. At the time, I didn't fully understand the extent to which Ubuntu had played a role in saving my life. But I now recognize that because one African girl made the choice to uplift her own community because of our Ubuntu, I'm able to stand here today. I believe that this understanding of our Ubuntu is the very thing that has brought all of us here today. We've come together because of the dreams and the hopes that we all have for our beloved African continent and our people. Today, we unite once again to lead the way and collectively seek for homegrown solutions that will empower women and girls and uplift our African continent. Today, we celebrate the immeasurable contribution of African women to our society. They are the formidable pillars of strength on which our families and communities are built upon. They are the undeterred leaders who work tirelessly against all odds to make a better world for those around them. They are the true embodiment of what it means to live Ubuntu. Yet the challenges women face are enormous. The global pandemic has exacerbated the inequalities faced by women and girls, not only here on our African continent, but globally. We have seen gender-based violence intensify in recent months, requiring our collective global efforts to end it. We have seen women and girls bear the brunt of care responsibilities, whilst also doing so with very little food, as women and girls now make up 60% of the population facing chronic hunger. We have seen more than 130 million girls drop out of school due to the shutdown, most with no clear pathway or funding to ever resume their education. Yet we also know that when we rob girls of the opportunity to education, we also rob them of their dreams. The loss of those dreams to get an education, to make life better for themselves and their families, to broaden their possibilities, is also a loss for our communities and countries. When a girl loses the opportunity to an education, none of us achieve the prosperity that we would otherwise enjoy. I know all this too well, for I almost became one of those girls myself. When a second drought hit my village when I was 10 years old, my family who lived in the city took me in and gave me a chance to attend school. This single opportunity was pivotal to my future. Having an education enabled me to dream big and provided me with a clear path to achieving that dream. Despite many obstacles along the way, my dream eventually came true. I joined the United Nations and became the girl in the blue uniform. And now, having spent more than 2 decades working as a humanitarian at the forefront of global development, I've witnessed the transformative impact of investing in women and girls. When women and girls are provided with the same equal opportunities, they rise. And when they rise, we all rise. But as a child of the African soil, raised with Ubuntu values, I also know that the pursuit of gender equality cannot be a struggle between women and men. Because of our shared humanity, we need each other and are responsible for each other. We must therefore work together as a collective in pursuit of a gender equal world. In 2014, I had the incredible opportunity in my role as United Nations Senior Advisor on Gender Equality to bring this understanding of our African Ubuntu values to the world. I had been tasked with finding a way to accelerate progress towards women's rights, and under the visionary leadership of UN Women's Executive Director, Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, and my colleagues, we created the He for She movement and invited men to work alongside women in creating true societies of equality. The response was phenomenal. Within the first 5 days of He for She's launch, at least one man in every single country in the world joined the movement, generating more than 1.2 billion online conversations. The results of individual actions of everyone standing together began to quickly unfold. We saw men stand up against gender-based violence instead of placing the burden on women to not get abused. We saw men say no to child marriage instead of expecting young girls to figure out how to escape a child marriage. In the corporate world, we saw men share the responsibility for creating more equitable workplaces instead of asking women to constantly fight to remove barriers such as the glass ceiling. In homes and communities around the world, we saw men share the burden of care work and therefore unburden women to further pursue their professional dreams. And here in Malawi, we saw communities come together in the spirit of Ubuntu to abolish child marriage, as well as are now more than 20,000 child marriages, sending the girls back to school. And just like that, so many girls' lives were changed for the better. I remember at the time reflecting upon my own journey and on all the experiences that I had witnessed to arrive at this place in my life. From my humble upbringing in Zimbabwe, where just like the girls in Malawi, I too was a small girl in a small village with a big dream that refused to be limited by her current circumstances. How just like them, I had been uplifted and championed by the support of my loving family and African communities. Their investment, their belief in me, and the personal sacrifices they made is what enabled me to pursue my dream and be the person that I am today. I'm truly humbled to know unequivocally that I am living proof of the power of Ubuntu, that I am because we are. And this is what happens when everyone comes together in the spirit of Ubuntu. The burden is shared. The load is lessened. The investment is total. So as we convene here today to search for solutions to lessen the burden for women and girls on our African continent, how can we embrace our Ubuntu to find a path forward? As the whole world grapples with the COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen our continent demonstrate exemplary leadership in waging an effective campaign to combat the spread of the virus, with our infection figures remaining far lower than those in Europe, Asia, or the Americas. Once again, through our collective actions, we have reminded the world of who we truly are as Africans. People not defined by the enormity of our challenges, but by our resilience and strength in facing and overcoming them time and time again, working together as children of the African soil. The pandemic has reminded all of us of something that we as Africans have always known. It has reminded us of our collective interdependence, showing that what happens in one part of the world can indeed impact people everywhere. It has highlighted that our survival, both individually and collectively as humanity, is literally dependent on each other. And that as long as one of us is unwell, then none of us are well. So how can lessons from our beloved African continent be used to inspire change globally and provide healing and hope at a time when we need it most? Steve Biko, a South African anti-apartheid activist, once said, "We believe that in the long run, the special contribution to the world by Africa will be in the field of human relations. The great powers of the world may have done wonders in giving the world an industrial look, but the greatest gift still has to come from Africa, giving the world a more human face." Biko believed that our African cultures enable the emotional component in us to be much richer, making it easier for us to feel compassion towards others. It is therefore my firm conviction that Ubuntu, the very essence of our African cultures, could be one of Africa's greatest gifts to the world. That Ubuntu could be the solution that we all need right now to rebuild a world that is more equal, more just, more sustainable. A world where no one ever has to be discriminated against or denied access to equal opportunities simply because of their gender. It is therefore my belief that Ubuntu could be the remedy that enables all of us to heal as a collective. Thank you.